Hey now, welcome back to the Deadology Podcast from Pencil Hill Studio, New Paltz, New York. I'm your host, Howard Weiner. This is Season 3, Episode 16 of the Deadology Podcast. And happy Labor Day weekend, everybody. It's Sunday night. It's August 31st, 2025. And 45 years ago at this time, the Grateful Dead were involved in some heavy jamming. And that's what we're going to take a little look at for this episode. They were in the Cap Center, Landover, Maryland. An underrated gem. Great show. Awesome second set. First set surprised me. I hadn't heard the first set much. So yeah, a lot of great audio highlights to get to from this incredible show. But before I get into that, I just want to send a shout out to Dark Star Orchestra. What an amazing band. I think we all know that, but even I take them for granted sometimes. I've probably seen them like 25 times. I saw them at Bethel Woods. It was about 2 weeks ago, August 14th. Beautiful night out. Nice crowd there. Seen a lot of people I hadn't seen in a while. And I was just kind of taken back at how good Dark Star Orchestra is after all these years. And I just had such a great appreciation for what they were doing. By the way, the show they did was November 21st, 1978 from Rochester. It was a show that I wasn't even familiar with. It was one of those that slipped through somehow that I don't think I ever heard before. So I listened to that show. It's a pretty great show. And once we hit November, I think I'm going to do that show along with the Cleveland show the night before. But yeah, back to Dark Star Orchestra. They played the hell out of every song. It was just how they do this for so many years and are still so into it every single time they're out there. And after this long 3-hour show, great set list, they do extra encores on top of what the Grateful Dead did. And I think just about every time I've seen them, they always do the extra encores. So, I mean, these guys give it their all. And as I was enjoying this, I'm like, why am I not seeing more Dark Star Orchestra shows? This is one of the great values for your money that you can find in live entertainment these days. So yeah, it was such a great night. And at Bethel Woods, they did something cool last year. They opened up like a camping ground, which is about maybe a quarter mile from the where you see the concerts. And I love this because you go to a concert, have a good time, not have to worry about driving home or getting to a hotel, driving to a hotel, that kind of thing, and just hang out with people from the concert who are also camping out. They have different camping options, but the one I like, I could sleep in my car at the end of the night, They just have like a car camping option where they have like a beautiful campfire out there. They shuttle you to and from the site, like $80 just to stay over. And we had a great time at that DSO show afterwards. I brought out my Bose speaker, listening to music till I passed out around 2:30, and then had a nice sober drive home. But yeah, Bethel Woods doing a pretty cool thing there, opening up like camping for the concerts. So yeah, because there's not a lot of great hotels in that area, so it's a very cool option. But Dark Star Orchestra, man, going to see them more often. That's my vow for the upcoming year. All right, back to 45 years ago, the 45th anniversary of the Cap Center, 8/31/80. And just to set the stage for you, this is one of the great 3-night runs or 3-show runs in Grateful Dead history as far as I'm concerned. I've always fixated on this little time period. They played 2 shows at the Philly Spectrum, August 29th and 30th. The 29th I like a lot. It's cool, Let It Grow and Going Down the Road. But the 30th, that first set on August 30th, it's just like song for song, the one of the all-time great Grateful Dead sets. It's that amazing. I did a podcast on that already, as well as I did a podcast on the show after this Cap Center one from Rochester, September 2nd, 80, which might be the best show of this run with the Ico, Morning Dew, Sugar Mag, and just, two dynamite sets from Rochester. But this Cap Center show, for a long time, I had the second set of it. Loved the second set. Pre-drums second set. If someone said to me, what's the best pre-drums this would be right there. It would be one of the first things that come to mind from the Cap Center on this night. And I didn't hear the first set. I don't think I ever heard the first set from this, so that was one cool thing to get the first set involved here. And I was pleasantly surprised, so let's jump right in. Cap Center, East Coast Energy, 1980, man. People that went to these shows were so into it. When the Grateful Dead were on, the place went nuts. You know, it's like the Grateful Dead kind of had to earn it a little. They had to play great to get the great applause, but on these nights, the crowd was off the hook. So they open up Alabama Getaway, and Garcia's smoking, man. It's just a great start, and the crowd is going wild. When they finish Alabama Getaway, it's you think it's Beatles 65. The crowd is going that crazy. And then they break into Promised Land. Tremendous version, and I was kind of kicking it back and forth. Which one should I go with, the Getaway or the Promised Land, to kick off the audio highlights? I went with the Promised Land because it's a great ending solo here, and you could just tell Jerry's all over it, man, playing in between Bobby singing. So yeah, let's jump right into the excitement of 45 years ago tonight. Cap Center, Landover, Maryland. Man, do I miss that. The raw excitement of the Grateful Dead on fire in front of an East Coast audience, like in the Cap Center in Landover. Yeah, so it was a Sunday night, like tonight's a Sunday night, day before Labor Day. Just if you look at this first set, Alabama, Promised Land, Love Each Other, Mama Tried, Mexicali. Not, there's definitely more exciting first sets than that, song-wise, as we start off here, and maybe that's why I never tracked down the first set. I had a tape which I listened to over and over from the second set. But yeah, when I started hearing this first set, I'm like, the set list doesn't really tell a story. They're so incredibly hot, in Landover on this night, right from the beginning, playing typical songs. Love Each Other in the third spot. Garcia's lead is just shredding, man, incredible. Really hot, Love Each Other. And then they go Mama Tried, Mexicali. At this point, how much momentum can you pick up playing these songs? But they're playing them all perfect to a T, and just ripping them to shreds. So you have 5 songs in here. Song 6, Althea, which is one of the new songs from the Go to Heaven album. And it just so happens the night before in Philly, they played Althea Jack Straw to end the first set. Best Althea ever. So as I'm listening to this, I'm like, obviously there's no way it's going to be on par with the Philly one. but still pretty damn good. Very hot Althea for the time. I think I liked it better than the following version from Rochester, even though that one's pretty good. But yeah, very hot Althea. When they first came out with Althea, they definitely jammed it a little longer than as the years went on. The last solo by Garcia was always pretty exciting in 80-81. So we got Althea, 7th spot, Little Red Rooster. And this is probably the biggest bore of the whole show. And I love Rooster, but when I hear these 1980 Roosters, they kind of lack the intensity. They're probably really lack the structure. The Grateful Dead were working to it. By 1981, they got it down exactly as they should. They gave it the Minglewood treatment, or the C.C. Ryder treatment, where for the last instrumental it would be Brent keyboard solo, Bobby on slide, and then Jerry. And this worked so well because Jerry would come out like a wild animal and just rip that last jam apart. It was set up so perfectly. But these 80 Little Red Roosters, I never loved them, but by total turnabout 1981, the way they set up the Roosters, they're so hot. A great display of Garcia guitar. So after Rooster here, we got Tennessee Jet, and it's right back there, right on the money again. Really nice jam in the Tennessee Jet. Followed up with another Go to Heaven song, the new album, Far From Me. One of my favorite Brent songs, solid version here. And then they go for the Lazy Lightning Supplication. And just the consistency of the playing in this first set is really remarkable, considering it's not like a super outstanding set list. I was having so much fun. I listened to this 3 times in a row. I couldn't believe how much I liked it. And the Supplication absolutely steams here, so let's check out a little nice chunk of this Supplication. literally sounds to me like they're trying to blow the roof off the place. I know it's a cliche I use often, but just the intensity of this playing, the way Garcia's playing, the band, everybody's just racing forward with this confidence and thunderous sound. So these 3 nights are really something else, man. Like if I was gonna put together, I know everybody likes getting the shows as CDs complete, but if I had to put together a compilation, this 3-night run, blowing the roof off the place, and just these versions are just so intense from this little 3-night span. But man, they had the energy, the mojo going this time in the Cap Center. So we're reaching the end of the first set, which, like I said, just a very pleasing first set, much better than it looks on paper. It ends with a deal. I mean, it's not the blockbuster deals you would start getting when they added the extra instrumental, but the crowd, once again, the crowd's going nuts. Jerry singing emphatically at the end of the deal. Just a beautiful end to a monster of a first set, even though it's not a paper monster. It's a reality performance monster. Great opening set, and got lots of audio highlights and praise for the Grateful Dead as we go into set 2 here. Just unbelievable. There's a run here of about 5 songs in a row, which is unlike anything, and these songs have never been put together in this sequence before. So some really unique Grateful Dead here. And to kick off a unique second set, they open up with Greatest Story Ever Told into Uncle John's Band. That combo had never been played before, would never be played again. So a little originality, something that will unique to this show. Greatest Story into Uncle John's. Greatest Story by this point is pretty cookie cutter, same type versions. But man, they ripped this Uncle John's apart. If I weren't playing so many highlights, I would play a bit of this Uncle John's. But a great time period for Uncle John's. Jerry unleashes on both solos. They mess up the chorus lyrics a little bit, which they mess up the chorus lyrics to Uncle John's Band so much through the years. I don't even know how the song. I mess it up every time I get to the chorus. It's but no messing up on the instrumental, man. Wow, too great. The last instrumental, awesome. And this time period, you're always going to get a hot Uncle John's whenever they played it. A couple other great, like 77 obviously was a great year for Uncle John's. They really kind of expanded the song. Then they didn't play it for 2 years. It came back December 26, 79, and that might be the best version ever, or pretty close to it, right up there. There's one from Hartford, May 10th, 80, insane, and I don't want to go into a whole Uncle John's thing here. This one's not quite in that top 10 category, but very hot for 1980, and just got perfect opening, that unique combo, Greatest Story into Uncle John's, and then Lost Sailor. Just coming after Uncle John's. This is something I took for granted when I saw the Grateful Dead. I liked Sailor Saint, but the more I listen to it, this song just keeps kind of growing. This combo keeps growing in stature, especially the Lost Sailor. I'm not sure why Weird decided not to, why the band lost it and they just did Saint. Sailors, there's something so cool about it. So I could see like a jazz band taking that and doing like a nice slow tempo ballad off Lost Sailor. Just something so moody, and I think that's why Jerry liked playing it a lot. Just a very cool, moody, a lot of ambiance to it. Every time I hear Sailor these days, I'm like, what a great song. Just going into it, before you get to the lyrics of the song itself, there's just something about the mood or the feel of it, man. It's obviously a weird tune, but it seems like it's right in Garcia's wheelhouse. And this Sailor, as good a licks you hear at the end from Jerry, but it's a perfect version. Very hot to Sailor, very hot to Saint. In my book Deadology Volume 2, Saint was one of the songs I listed as a great jam anthem, and this one made the cut. Even though the Sailor and the Saint are kind of equal, there's probably some better Saints than this one, but extremely hot. But the weird thing is, so they play this. It's August 31st, 1980. First time they played in the Cap Center. Next year they come to the Cap Center, they do it again. unbelievable. Saint of Circumstance is out of control. They come back in 82. Once again, they play Sailor Saint again, and just unbelievable. All three of these versions are among the 7 or 8 versions I put in the book. I'm like, how does that happen? And as I explained, I mentioned this once before on one of my podcasts, like Garcia and the Dead had a thing for playing Sugaree in New Haven and Hartford. The very first version of Sugaree was played in Hartford, not Hartford, in the Yale Bowl in 71, I believe it was like July 31st, if I got the date correct. And then every time they came through, they played unbelievable Sugarees, like take 1977. You got the New Haven one from May 5th, and then the Hartford one from May 28th. Unbelievable blockbuster versions, and every time they'd come back, they would play a great Sugaree. And I don't know, maybe they should hang a Lost Sailor Saint banner in the Cap Center, because for 3 years in a row, they played 3 of the all-time best versions of this tune. And I was kicking back and forth. Should I do the Sailor? Should I do the Saint for an audio highlight? I went with the Sailor because usually I go with the Saint. This is truly some awesome playing by Jerry at the end of Lost Sailor here. Just a right on the money version all the way through. Man, that's LOL, laugh out loud, Jerry. I mean, when does the band bring that type of intensity to Lost Sailor? And they keep it flowing right through Saint of Circumstance, great combo. And that's what you got here in the pre-drums. It's nicely balanced, the combos. You got the Greatest Story, Uncle John's, the Sailor Saint combo. And then the combo coming up is better than anything that they've done so far on this evening. So what happens here is miraculous. The way the whole mood shifts and the performance that the Dead and Jerry are about to pull off here. So you come from that like a high-flying Sailor Saint, just a knockout version, and then they decide to play Comes a Time. And I don't even know how a band does this, to go from that intensity to the most beautiful, gorgeous, reflective version of Comes a Time. This is my favorite Comes a Time. And I know there's some great ones from, obviously, Europe, 72, 77 has great ones, Buffalo, almost all those from 77, the Palladium, just awesome versions. But 1980, there was a nice run of Comes a Time. It wasn't a song Jerry played a lot. I think the exact number, I hadn't looked at this up in a while, but for some reason 66 sticks out in my mind. I think that's the amount of times they played Comes a Time. Never overplayed. Jerry had to be in the mood, and boy, was he in the mood in the Cap Center on this night. The guitar work superb, but the whole thing, man, just this is perfect. This is what Comes a Time should be all about. The emotions there. The beautiful lyrical guitar leads, Jerry singing. This is a perfect version, and therefore I'm not going to play a small cut from it. We're going to hear the whole thing. Comes a Time, the 5th song, set to August 31st, 1980. Obviously, the Grateful Dead are making the turn and going into trucking, and we're going to get to that in a minute, man, because what a trucking it is. But wow. The Grateful, just how do they do it, man? That is religion. The Grateful Dead stopping time in its tracks. Comes a time. Just such a unbelievable performance, but especially in the context of how the show's been going. Mostly rock and roll, right at you, especially during that Sailor Saint. And then just to, on a dime, switch into that just religious mode. You're out there. It's a religious experience, man. Seeing Comes a Time that great, but incredible how they could smoothly pull it off. They at this point in 1980, man, they had something going on, man. It's a special little time period in history that I think gets overlooked. And they were going to do the Radio City thing, which took them in a different direction. The electric set's probably not as hot, but hey, again, the acoustic sets, man, it was so worthwhile and so important because so many of those acoustic songs came into the electric set, the deep Ellums and stuff like that. So, 1980, very unusual, great year, but just a lot of different twists and turns. But Comes a Time, and to me, that's my favorite. And moving on, the trucking. So trucking, you got to look at it in like two different decades. In the 70s, you had the really long jams. 72 to 74, so many great truckins, but also they'll dump 15 minutes of jam into a truckin. So it's hard to compare it to what they did in the 80s, which obviously was much shorter, but powerful, but shorter. This is the best version from the 80s. I don't know how you can compare it to what they did in the 70s, but this might be my favorite version of truckin'. What they do at the end of this, man, is just Garcia on this night, a freaking hero, like he was for that first set in the Philly Spectrum, 1980. Just the monumental playing, man. Just Garcia flexing his muscles, man. Just wow, song after song, some of the greatest versions ever. And hey, no need for me to describe it, man. Let's go right to the trucking. We'll hear that amazing ending to the trucking, and then bring this show on home. Oh, going from stopping time in his tracks, they're back to trying to rip the roof off the building. So switching right back to a reign of terror and amazing, thunderous music. what a night the band was having, and especially Jerry. I mean, that's incredible what they just did there. So it's a great Truckin band, kicks ass. It sounds like they're winding it down to go into drums, and Jerry just must have shot a look to his bandmates, saying like, "Let's do this one more time. Let's rebuild it." And I love the improbability of listening to Garcia, which I think you get more of than any other musician. Just when it seems like it's impossible to do something or to top something he just did, and invent something that's never been there before, he pulls it off on the nights when he's on. He pulls it off, and this Trucking is such a great example of that. I mean, that jamming at the end is just had to blow the roof off the place for sure, man. It was wow. I can't even imagine like being at a show that hot. It's crazy. To go from the Sailor Saint to the Comes a Time, and just how do you pick up that intensity after you broke kind of the momentum with a brilliant Comes a Time? That was a pure magic act. Greatest Story, Uncle John's, Sailor Saint, Comes a Time, Truckin'. And then they go into drums, and it's that type of night where you're listening to the tape, the drums sound great. And so cool drum solo, a little extra funkiness to the space, a little more interesting than usual. And then with going home, at this point, there's no way, after all the great songs they played on this night, you just can't, song after song, keep playing like the best version ever. So obviously it slips a little here. The versions aren't as long, but they're still playing good. Space goes into the other one. Bob definitely jumped in a little too quick. It sounded like Jerry was ready to go off a little bit. He jumped in too quick with the first verse, jamming pretty intense during the second verse, but it's not a spectacular other one by any means, but definitely for a compact version, very good. And then they go into Stella, and just listening to this for this podcast, I so enjoyed hearing the Stella, singing along with Jerry. It's a gorgeous version. But for this time period, they really have some amazing Stellas. This is not one of the more noteworthy Stella outros, but still, it's really good. So you got other ones, Stella Blue, and then they jump into I Need a Miracle. And this, I'm going to play the I Need a Miracle and Part of the Good Lovin' as the outro for this show. Very hot, not a long Miracle jam at the end, but extremely hot. Miracle definitely hit its peak in '79. To find good versions after 80, 81 is almost impossible, or long versions where they're extending the last solo. It's a song I always like singing in concert. I respect the hell out of this song, but definitely they stopped using it as a jamming vehicle at the end with that last instrumental. But this one's really hot, and it goes into Good Lovin'. And now here's another deja vu, I've been there before thing with Jerry. Like I mentioned on the Sailor Saint earlier, they played a very hot Miracle on this evening into Good Lovin'. They do the same exact ending, September 21st, 81, at their Cap Center show the following year. So they played a great Sailor Saint in the first set that night, and they ended the show with Miracle, Good Lovin'. And this Miracle from the 81 show is an outlier, just an incredible version. So there's definitely there's something to that. Garcia was there. He somehow tapped into the fact that he was in this building the year before, and he played an off-the-hook version. So the same kind of thing happens here with the Miracle the following year in 81, where they almost build upon what they did the year before. It's crazy, but I don't think he consciously thought of it going in, but something hit him I was here last year and I kicked ass on this, and let's do it again, man. The vibe just rode the vibe, Jerry did. So yeah, very cool Miracle, Good Lovin'. And the broke down encore comes. And once again, you get a lot of soundboard here. There's some audience parts, and I love the fact that there's some audience here because you could just hear how loud the crowd is. The broke down is a pure audience tape. And from the story I read on the internet, apparently some naked hippie ran on stage, tripped over a cord. He was tussling with security. Jerry's guitar cord got knocked out, kind of at the start of Broke Down Palace. And because I listened to this thing, I'm like, what the hell happened, because you hear they start off good in the first verse. It sounds like a beautiful version. The crowd's going nuts. And then you hear some kind of pop, and you see his guitar's not working. They don't do a verse. They kind of short the song up. They don't sing one of the verses. Obviously, something went wrong. So it wasn't even a matter of anything to do with the band. I thought it was like a speaker blew or something, but I read that somebody might have tripped over Jerry's guitar cord and they couldn't straighten it out. But anyway, just an overall awesome show. The Cap Center, August 31st, 1980. And hey, I was very close. I wish I could have been there. Doug Schmel, who's going to be on the podcast next week, we're going to do a 1971 show. His first show is Philly Spectrum, 1980, and definitely you can see how that set him off. So, yes, it's a great time period for the band. And, so lucky to see these shows, whoever got to see him at the point. My first show, March 9th, 1981. I got into Europe 72 a couple months before. That was my turning moment. 1981 was the year for me, but I wasn't any part of this. I was probably getting heavily into Eddie Van Halen and their second album, second album at this point. But yeah, that wraps up this show. Underrated Gem, 45th anniversary, Cap Center. Some of the best versions you're ever going to hear, and what a part of a great 3-night Labor Day run for the Grateful Dead. So, hey, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Howard Weiner. We'll be back next week. Doug Schmel, 1971 show. So that's going to be a lot of fun. My website, tangledupintunes.com. My books are on Amazon. Just type in Howard Weiner, Howard F. Weiner, and you'll see them all there. And hey, once again, thanks for listening. Peace out.